Ibuprofen and naproxen, the painkillers in almost every medicine cabinet in America, wear down kidney function after 60. The other three are just as ordinary: phosphate additives in packaged food, a steady salt load, and the mild constant dehydration nobody counts as a habit. Taken once in a while, none of these do much. The problem is what they add up to when they repeat daily for years. So why does something this common never feel like anything? Because kidney function shows up as a number on a lab report, long before it shows up as anything you can feel. That number comes from a standard blood test, and by the end you will know how to ask for it and how to read it. Before the medicine cabinet, start with what your kidneys are, because the popular version of this topic gets that part wrong in a way that sells people things they do not need. You have two of them, each about the size of a fist, sitting against your back just below the ribs. Inside each one are roughly 1 million microscopic filtering units called nephrons. They pull waste out of your blood, hold on to what you need, balance your water and your minerals, and help regulate your blood pressure while they do it. Nephrons do not grow back. You were born with your full supply, and the count drifts downward across a lifetime. That much is normal. Speeding it up without noticing is the part worth talking about. And you will not notice. Your kidneys have no pain nerve for this kind of gradual loss. There is no ache, no warning twinge, no bad morning that announces a portion of your filtering capacity is gone. A person can lose a large share of kidney function and feel completely fine, right up until the loss is far enough along to cause symptoms. This is damage you cannot feel. The version of this story you have probably seen online sells a spice, or a tea, or a morning drink that repairs your kidneys. It has the picture backwards. Nothing needs to be added here. What wears the filters down is ordinary, repeated, and mostly inside your control. Culprit number 1 is sitting in your bathroom right now. Ibuprofen and naproxen belong to a family of drugs called NSAIDs, which stands for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. In the United States, you know them as Advil, Motrin, and Aleve, plus every store-brand bottle beside them. In the United Kingdom, they are the same two drugs behind names like Nurofen and Naproxen, carrying the same warnings on the same kind of label. A bottle of 200 tablets costs less than a sandwich, and nothing about buying it feels like a medical decision. These drugs block enzymes called COX, and those enzymes produce chemical messengers called prostaglandins. Prostaglandins drive inflammation and pain, so cutting them is exactly why your knee stops throbbing. But prostaglandins have a second job that has nothing to do with pain. They keep the small blood vessels feeding your kidneys' filters relaxed and open, which is how those filters get the blood flow they need to work. Cut the prostaglandins and you narrow the pipes. A review of the literature indexed in the National Library of Medicine describes this pathway in detail. So the very thing that relieves the pain is the thing that pulls on the kidney. That trait is fine occasionally. 1 tablet for a headache in a person with healthy kidneys who has had plenty of water barely registers. The picture changes when the pill becomes routine. 2 in the morning for a bad hip, 2 at night for arthritis, most days for years. That is a different exposure than a headache in April. The risk concentrates further in specific situations. When you are dehydrated, in hot weather, or ill with a stomach bug, your kidneys are already leaning on prostaglandins to keep blood moving through the filters. An anti-inflammatory taken in that state removes the support at the moment it is holding the most weight. Certain blood pressure medications and water pills act on related parts of the same system, so stacking one of each with a daily anti-inflammatory puts 3 things on one mechanism. Your pharmacist can check that combination in about 2 minutes, for free, at the counter. Researchers do not agree on how much routine use costs an average person with healthy kidneys. A decade-long study of older adults, indexed in the National Library of Medicine, tracked routine anti-inflammatory use against early kidney disease, and found the two move together. Other published work argues the risk in older adults is smaller than the warning labels imply. The mechanism is settled. So think in terms of cumulative routine exposure and do not panic over a single tablet. One more thing changes what you reach for. Acetaminophen, sold as Tylenol in America and known as paracetamol in Britain, is not in this drug family. It does not work through that prostaglandin pathway in the kidney, so its profile is different. It carries its own limits, mostly around the liver and around total daily dose, so it is not a free pass. Ask your pharmacist which one fits you. Your action here is a count. Mark on a calendar how many days in the last month you took ibuprofen or naproxen. Write the actual number down. If it is more than a couple of days a week, that is the number to bring to your next appointment, along with the bottle itself. While you are there, ask your doctor for the lab number I mentioned at the start. And to be clear, if a doctor has prescribed a daily anti-inflammatory, do not stop it because of a video. Some people are on one for a reason that outweighs this concern entirely. That decision belongs to the person who wrote the prescription, and your job is to make sure they know how often you are taking it. That is culprit number 1. The next one is not in a bottle at all, and it does not appear on the label. Culprit number 2 is phosphate additives in packaged food. Phosphorus is a mineral you need, and it arrives naturally in beans, dairy, nuts, and meat, bound up inside protein and plant structures, so your gut absorbs only part of it. Added phosphate is a different form. Manufacturers use phosphate salts to extend shelf life, hold moisture in meat, keep processed cheese smooth, and sharpen the taste of dark sodas. That form is not bound to anything, and your body absorbs far more of it than the kind that arrives packaged inside real food. 2 plates with the same phosphorus number on paper can deliver very different loads to your kidneys. Calories, fat, and sodium have to be declared on the nutrition label in the United States. Phosphorus does not. A 2009 report on hidden phosphorus additives raised this publicly, and a more recent review of additives in ultra-processed foods, indexed in the National Library of Medicine, describes the same gap. So the number on the front of the box leaves that part out. This matters most for people whose kidney function is already reduced. Healthy kidneys clear extra phosphorus reasonably well. When filtering capacity is already down, the mineral builds up in the blood, where it goes to work on bones and blood vessels. So if you know your filtering is reduced, treat this as a real priority. For healthy kidneys, the evidence is thinner, and you deserve to hear that. The action is a reading habit, and it takes 1 minute. Skip the nutrition panel and read the ingredient list, where additives must appear by name. Look for any word containing phos. Sodium phosphate, phosphoric acid, sodium tripolyphosphate, calcium phosphate. On fresh chicken or pork, check the small print for words like enhanced or flavor solution, which usually means a phosphate solution was injected into the meat. Deli meat, processed cheese slices, dark colas, instant puddings, non-dairy creamer, and frozen dinners are where it lives most often. Pick the 3 packaged items you eat most weeks and read those 3 ingredient lists once. If this is useful so far, consider subscribing. The channel covers kidney and heart health after 60 every week. Culprit number 3 is salt, and the kidney half of that story usually gets left out. You have heard about salt and blood pressure for 40 years. What that message skips is where the pressure lands. Sodium holds water in your bloodstream. More water means more volume, and more volume means higher pressure inside your arteries. Inside each nephron is a tuft of tiny capillaries, and pressure inside those capillaries is what wears them down over years. High blood pressure and diabetes are the 2 most common causes of chronic kidney disease, and the pressure mechanism is why. Then it turns into a loop. Your kidneys help regulate blood pressure themselves, so as filtering capacity declines, that regulation gets less precise, pressure edges up, and the higher pressure works on the remaining filters. 10 years of that, and the number I mentioned at the start will have moved. Which is why you want to know where it sits today. Salt and phosphate also live in the same aisle. Deli meat, canned soup, bread, frozen meals, jarred sauces, and processed cheese carry both, so one shopping change works on 2 culprits at once. The packages in your cabinet carry far more sodium than the shaker on your table. The action starts with 1 swap. Take the packaged food you eat most often and compare its sodium line against the low-sodium version beside it on the shelf. Make that swap permanent. Rinse canned beans in a colander before you use them, which washes a meaningful amount of sodium down the drain. Buy no salt-added canned tomatoes. 3 decisions made once at the store that then repeat every week without any willpower from you. Culprit number 4 is the one that makes the other 3 worse. Your sense of thirst gets weaker with age. That is a documented change in how the body signals, and it means you can be genuinely low on fluid and feel nothing at all. The message is arriving quieter than it used to. When fluid runs low, your kidneys hold water back and concentrate your urine. Filtering the same waste with less water is more work for the same tissue. That state is also when an anti-inflammatory does the most harm, because both are pulling on blood flow through the filters at the same moment. It is when a salt load hits hardest and when kidney stone risk climbs, because concentrated urine gives minerals a better chance to crystallize. Forget counting ounces and use 2 markers instead. The first one, color, is color. Pale straw means you are in reasonable shape. Dark amber, day after day, means you are running behind. The second is a schedule that does not depend on thirst, since thirst is the signal that stopped being reliable. A full glass with each meal, and 1 more between breakfast and lunch, gets you there without any counting. On any day you do take ibuprofen or naproxen, take it with a full glass of water, and avoid taking it on an empty stomach after an afternoon in the yard. One carve-out matters here. If your doctor has placed you on a fluid limit for a heart or kidney reason, that instruction wins over anything in this video. Ask them what your daily number should be and follow it. Now the number I promised you. It is called your eGFR, which stands for estimated glomerular filtration rate. In plain words, it is a single figure estimating how fast your kidneys are filtering your blood. It is calculated from creatinine, a waste product your muscles produce during normal activity, which is measured on a routine blood panel and then adjusted for your age and sex. If you have had ordinary blood work in the last couple of years, the ingredient for this number was almost certainly on it. Here is how to ask, and the wording matters. What was my eGFR on my last blood test, and what was it the time before that? 2 numbers, not 1. 1 value on its own is only a snapshot. Put 2 of them a year or 2 apart, and you can see which way things are moving, which is the information you are after. According to the National Kidney Foundation, an eGFR of 90 or above is in the normal range. 60 to 89 may mean early-stage kidney disease. 15 to 59 may mean kidney disease. Below 15 is the range where someone is already working closely with a kidney specialist. Read those categories carefully, because the word may is doing real work in them. A result in the 70s is common after 60 and does not amount to a diagnosis on its own. It is a reason for a conversation and a repeat test. There is a second question worth asking at the same appointment. The National Kidney Foundation points out that a person can have an eGFR above 60 and still have kidney disease if protein is leaking into the urine. So ask whether you have had a urine albumin test and what it showed. 1 blood test and 1 urine test together give a fuller picture. That is the whole point of knowing your number. It gives you a baseline so that when you cut the routine anti-inflammatory down, read 3 ingredient lists, make 1 sodium swap, and drink on a schedule, you can see the answer on paper in a year. Before you change anything, bring your complete medication list to your doctor or pharmacist, including the over-the-counter bottles, because those rarely make it onto the official list. Ask about the anti-inflammatory alongside your blood pressure medication and any water pill. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or a family history of kidney disease, you very likely already qualify for regular kidney testing, and the result may be sitting in your chart waiting for someone to ask about it. None of the 4 things in this video requires a prescription, a supplement, or a gadget to change. 3 are decisions you make in a grocery aisle, and the 4th is a glass of water at breakfast. The bottle in your medicine cabinet stays exactly where it is for the sprained wrist and the bad week. It just stops being the automatic answer every single day. There are more videos like this on the channel.